name's Craig Nickel. This is Nickel Valley Ranch, just outside of Cairns, Saskatchewan. I've had these drinking posts for about 2 years now. They work great. They serve my 120 head of cattle that I have out there. And I couldn't imagine having to have heated bowls of water out there anymore.
Tell us a little bit about what installation was like for you.
Installation, I had a gentleman come out with a backhoe and trench the water line to where I wanted the post to be set up. We had put 2 feet of gravel for a drainage pit underneath. We put some foam insulation above it just to make sure, because we weren't exactly sure where the frost line was going to end up. So we've got the water post sticking through the hard foam insulation into the gravel pit, but everything went smoothly, very easy to set up and put into the ground. The 10-foot posts are well below the frost line, so we don't have any issues with frost or freezing. But yeah, it went quick and easy, and the hardest part was getting somebody to actually trench the water line in, which we didn't even do ourselves.
How far did you have to trench the water line?
The water line's 8 feet deep, because the frost line here is about 7.5 feet. So we had a professional put the water line in just because they did all of our other property with water to houses and stuff. So at the same time, we had them put the water line to where the corrals is going to be, and yeah, they figure 7.5, 8 feet was more than enough, and it seems to be doing exactly what it needs to.
And what's the coldest temp that you've experienced here with the drinking posts?
The coldest temperature we've had in the 2 years was minus 42 degrees Celsius, minus 48 with wind chill. It got very cold for about 3 days. That's the coldest it's been. But this year it has been minimum minus 35 for 3.5 weeks straight.
And how have your drinking posts held up with that?
Excellent. They don't phase. We get the cows push the paddles down a little longer than they should, and we get a little bit of overflow, so ice tends to build up around the outside, but it has no effect on the usage of the paddles. They work great and function in the cold perfectly.
Tell me a little bit about maintenance, or if you do any cleanup, whether it's daily or weekly.
We actually don't have to do any cleaning of the bowls themselves. Like I said, cattle tend to push the paddles down longer than they need to, so we get overflow, so any of the grain or straw that was in their mouths kind of washes over the edge anyway. So the bowls will stay clean on their own. We don't have to clean the screens or anything like that. There has been a couple times where cattle have gotten rough and damaged a paddle here or there, and with the frigid minus 35 degrees, we've had to replace 2 paddles in 2 years out of 8, which is nothing. And yeah, simple, easy, put the drill to it, the screws come out easy. Swapping a paddle is 5-10 minute job.
So let's talk a little bit about the setup. You said you had a stream for the summer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've got a spring that feeds a creek stream, more than enough for 200-300 head of cattle. So the cows don't generally come up to the waters in the summer. I have seen them sniff around there. We tend to put grain up by the paddles just so that they will come up to the pens and stay familiar with coming to the corrals for the winter time. But yeah, they don't generally use any. I have enough water on the property that the watering posts are just for winter time. So we have 120 head in the 4 corrals that we have. We have 2 drinking posts per corral, just to cover our bases and make sure that we had enough. We also did that for maintenance reasons. If we needed to replace a paddle because we weren't sure, we still have one waterer in the corral while we were doing maintenance on the other, but like I said, there hasn't been very much maintenance at all to them. So we're fed off of a well. The well feeds 2 houses with 8 people and the 4 corrals with 8 drinking posts. There's 13 gallons a minute backfill to the well, and we're running 60 PSI on our water pressure. There's lots of pressure to all 8 drinking posts, and we've never noticed a difference in our water pressure in either of the 2 houses as well. At first training was a little touch and go. We had to be out there several times pushing paddles down just so that the cows can smell the water. The training paddles work great so that if they haven't been trained before on how to use the drinking posts, you will have to have a training paddle with the ball on top so that when they push the block down to smell for the water, that they surprise themselves and the bowl starts to fill up and they figure it out fairly quickly. They won't do that if you just put a paddle in off the start, but once you have 1 or 2 cows that know how to drink it, the rest of them learn like every other herd. They just start drinking, they figure it out, and they push the paddle down like their first 2 that figured it out. So it went quick and easy as soon as we could train 1 or 2 cows how to do it.